Hi, I'm back here at Life's Memories More's new location at 2067 Main Street, Three Rivers, Mass. And welcome to my One Sheet Wonder tutorial for today. First, I'm going to go over some of the tools that you're actually going to need to do this. There's actually not a whole lot, but there are some. You're going to need to get the paper that you chose. I chose this Peon design paper. I just love the texture of it all and the thickness of it all. You can choose any kind of paper that you want. This is the paper that's going to be included in your kit. You're also going to need a paper trimmer, and this is one of my favorite glue pens. It's the Zig glue pen, and it's got the little squeeze ball, and it's just like a pen, so that it actually will glue very fine parts of cards or any die cuts that you have. You're also going to need to just use some basic glue. I usually use the quick dry tacky glue because it dries really quick and I just love it. I don't have to wait a whole lot. We also are going to use some pop dots, a pencil, and your basic adhesive. Okay, when using your cutting guide for the first time, I actually highly recommend that you take a piece of 12 by 12 scrap paper and practice on that, so that you actually, if you're going to make any kind of little cutting mistakes, you're going to learn on that and then use the paper that you've chosen to make your cards. Hi, today to begin with, we're going to need our cutting guide, which is included in your kit, a pencil, and a little small ruler, and your trimmer, and whatever paper you choose. Like I said, I included in your kit was one of the Peon design papers from Sweden. So, to start off with, we're going to cut this in 3 segments, okay? Our first cut is going to be 5.5 inches, just cutting it straight across the paper. So you just measure it up to 5.5 and cut. So you have your 5.5 sheet. Now with that, you're going to go along the top, and it's going to show that you're going to start with cutting one that is 3 inches wide. Now, if you look on your cutting guide, you're going to see that there's a number that's in red. That is going to be the paper, the piece that you're going to need to put together your first card. So what I have done to make sure I don't get things mixed up is on the back, the part that you're not going to see when you put your card together, I just number it number 1 so that I can keep track of what I'm doing. So your next cut is going to be a 1/2 inch. So you cut it at your 1/2 inch mark. I believe that's 1/2 inch on this. And that, if you look at your number, is going to be for card number 2. So I just put a 2 on there. You can keep your piles separate if you want to. And then there's also another one. Right there, that's a 1/2 inch. So you cut that there. You really want to pay attention because you have the one piece and that's it. Not a whole lot of room for mistakes, but you can fix them usually if you do. Now, your next cut is going to be 3 inches, and this is going to be for card number 3. So we're going to move this, cut it at 3 inches. So in this cut right here, first you're going to start with cutting it at 3 by 3 so that you have your 3-inch square, which is going to be for card number 3. So I label it and put it aside. So then what you're going to do is turn this piece so that you actually will get your 3 1-inch pieces. You cut these each at 1 inch. And this is going to be for card number 4. So again, you label this number 4 and put it aside. Next, I just want to make sure that this should be your 5.5 inch piece. You're going to next cut it at 2 inches. So it's going to be 5.5 inches long and 2 inches wide. And this is going to be for card number 5. Label it, put it aside. Labeling them, then you don't have to worry that you're going to get them mixed up. And your last cut is going to be for card number 6. Second segment, or our second cut, is going to be at 1.25 inch. And that's this cut right here. So what you're going to do is take your paper, which is the 12 inch length, and then you're going to cut it at 1.25. Put this one aside. Then you're going to turn it, and your first cut is going to be at 1 3/4.
1 1/4.
Oh, 1 1/4. I'm sorry. 1 1/4. And another one at 1 1/4. So basically, you're going to cut 3 of them at 1 1/4. Now this is going to be marked for card number 13. So you mark them all, put them aside. Your next cut is going to be at the 4 inch mark. So you move it over to 4 and then cut. And this is going to be card number 14. Mark that 14, put it aside. And the next one is also going to be 4 inches. And you're going to end up with just a little teeny piece at the end. So if you do, you know you did it right. Card number 14 again. This is going to be our third cutting segment, okay? You should have 1 1/4 inch, or I'm sorry, 5 1/4 inch piece of paper left. That's 12 inches in length. So what you're going to do is your first cut is going to be at 2.5 inches. So you cut one at 2.5 inches. And that's actually going to be card number 7, the paper that you use for card number 7. Again, make sure, I cannot stress labeling them enough. And then your next cut is going to be at 1.5 inches. So cut 1.5 inches. And that's going to be for card number 8. Now the next one we're kind of going to do, I'm just going to cut the straight cuts and then we're going to go back and talk about that one. So your next cut is actually going to be at 4 inches. And we're going to put that one aside for right now. And then your next cut is going to, again, be at 4 inches, which is what we should have left. Now, we're going to turn the paper again and cut that paper at 3 inches. Remember, you're going to need to turn the paper. So for that one, it's going to be card number 11. And then we're going to cut another cut at 3/4 of an inch. And another one at 3/4 of an inch. And these are actually going to be for card number 12. So we label these. Now we're going to go back to card number 9 and 10. We're going to go back to card number 10 and 9, okay? What you're going to do is take your ruler and along the left side of your paper, you're going to mark it at an inch from the bottom up. And then on the right side, you're going to mark it at an inch from the top down. Then you're going to line up these marks so that you can cut it, just cut it across. And then you'll have your two pieces for card 9 and 10 and mark them. And that should conclude it. In the end, you should have 14 different sets of your pattern paper to use to put your cards together. I cannot stress enough to go slowly and just follow the measurements. Like I said, I would cut them. This is your first segment, this is your second segment, and this is going to be your third segment. And you should not have a problem at all. Thank you. This is going to be card number 1. Now what you're going to get to do your card number 1 is your card, and it's a thank you card. You're going to use the piece of paper that you labeled card number 1. And you're going to have a mat, a little bling, and a die cut. You're going to start with adhering your pattern paper to your background. Like so. And then you can actually attach it to your card back. Like so, a little bit above the thank you. It should reach from one end to the other of the card. Very quick and simple to put together. The hardest part, I swear, of making these cards is making sure that you do your cuts on the original paper correctly. I'm using my Zig glue pen. I love it. It is great for doing this really intricate gluing where you're not going to get a whole lot of glue in other places where you don't really want it. And I just kind of do dots around where I need it. I will usually add a little bit more, but for the sake of time, I'm just kind of doing a quick run around. It should work just fine. And that I'm going to place in the center of your card. Press it down. Maybe I should have used a little bit more glue, but it should be fine. And then you're going to do the same thing for the next little die cut. Adding a little more glue to this one just to make sure. You stick that one in the center. Hopefully. I got a little bit of the glue on my fingers because I'm trying to do it quickly. Take your time, it'll be a little bit less messy. And then for the third piece, that goes in the very center. Like that. Add your little piece of bling. And just that quickly, you have a very cute thank you card. This is card number 1. Okay, this is going to be card number 2. And with this set, you're going to get your card back. Everything is better when you're around. Your matting and some pre-stamped embellishments. And you're going to grab the paper that you cut that you labeled card number 2. So again, start with putting some of your adhesive, adhere your little strips to your matting. Doing your best to try and make it straight. Not always great at that myself. And then you're going to attach each of these on the left and right sides of your card backing, right along the edges. On your right and your left side. And now, once again, my little favorite glue pen is going to come in handy for this intricate die cut, where I'm just using the small amount of glue going around it, where the glue pen, you tend not to put as much glue. For me, I find it a lot neater, less messy, although I still tend to get glue on my fingers. That gets attached in the center with the 3 little hearts right in the center there. And then you have your cute little embellishment. Now for this one, I popped it off of the card because I tend to love dimension in my cards. So I grabbed a few little foam squares and put it on the back. I found the easiest way to get these things to loosen up is to stick your fingernail right in the middle of them, and both ends tend to lift up, and then you can grab them. I know there's a lot of people that have a hard time getting the backs off of these things, and this seems to be my favorite way of doing it. And you just stick her on there, like this. And then you have card number 2. Everything is better when you're around. So this is going to be card number 3. And with this kit, you're going to get your base card with just because stamped on it. You're going to use the little piece that you cut, number 3, your matting, a little wooden embellishment, and a little piece of bling. So to start with, again, you're just going to attach your pattern paper to its mat, and then you're going to take this, add some adhesive, you're going to attach this to your card back. Like that. I take my little bling piece and I'm going to use that for the dot on top of my J. And then for the wooden piece, I'm going to need probably a little bit more glue, so what I'm going to use is my quick dry tacky glue on the back of it and just kind of add some. Like this. It dries clear, so I'm not really too concerned about being able to see it. I just want to make sure that it's going to stay on my card and it will dry clear. And then you're going to stick this right into the center of this square. And just as quick as that, you have a card to send to somebody just because. And here we have card number 4, Get Well Soon. With this one, you're going to have you're going to get a couple of the die cuts, a Get Well Soon base card, and you're going to use your number 4 cut from your pattern paper and some of your background mats. So to start with, again, you're going to attach your pattern paper to its background. With this one, you're going to kind of attach it up towards the top because you're going to have a border that goes along the bottom. So attach all 3 of these. And now, what you're going to do is kind of just space them out on your card so that you know where you're going to be placing them. And then you're going to just attach this to your card back. Just like this. I usually will start one on each side, and that way I know how I can center the one that goes in the middle. And I'm not so sure mine are lining up perfectly, but you know, it's handmade, you don't always have to be perfect. So then you'll have these 3. Now, what I did to make sure that this is going to reach each end is I just kind of lined it up myself and trimmed on each side, because you never know exactly how far apart you're actually going to put these. So that's kind of what I did with that. And with this one, again, I used the tacky glue because you can put a little bit more glue on this one. Put a little behind the hearts. And I just used this line along the bottom to line this up. Stick it on. Like I said, you can see a little bit of the glue, but like I said, it dries clear. Again, I love dimensions, so for this little heart, I grabbed some more of my foam squares, stuck them on the back of the heart. And again, I stick my thumb in the middle of them, and it causes the sides to pick up. I don't know where I learned this trick, but it was one of my favorite things to learn. Instead of trying to struggle to get the backs off of these little sticky things. Then you just kind of stick this in the center, like that. And there you have a Get Well card, card number 4. Okay, this is going to be card number 5. It's very simple, but yet elegant. It's a happy birthday card, And what you're going to get with this one is your card backing with the happy birthday sentiments and saying how special you are. And you're going to use, again, your number 5 piece of pattern paper and a matting. So you start, this is going to go very quickly, but you start by attaching your pattern paper to the mat. Like this. And sorry for the label on the back, but you won't be able to see that when it's all put together. And then you're going to attach this piece to your card back, like that. And can it be any simpler? And you are all set with another happy birthday card. Okay, this is card number 6, just because. With this card, you're going to get a little bit of ribbon and your card base and some die cuts, a die cut flower, just because die cut, a ribbon, and you're going to use your number 6 piece that you've cut out of your pattern paper. So to start with, I'm going to do the hardest part, which is going to be weaving your ribbon through this piece of die cut here. And basically you're just going to take it, put it in and out. Of course, I did most of this just to save some time. In and out. And in the end, for this one, all I'm doing is I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the end here, which will stick the card, stick the ribbon to the card, and trim off the end. So that's ready to be put on your card. Next, I'm going to attach my pattern paper to its mat. This is one of the cards that may take you a little bit longer than the others to put together, but it's worth it because it's very cute. Then you're going to attach, making sure you have the card in the right direction, you're going to attach this to your card base. Like this. Right down the center. And then what you're going to do is take the die cut that you actually weaved your ribbon through, and you're going to line that up right along the edge like this. And there you have it. Then I'm just using a little bit of adhesive. Attach my ribbon to that. And now, again, I'm using my favorite glue pen. Just doing little dots of glue right along this whole just because die cut. Attaching that to its background. That. And then have a little adhesive. You can use glue. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, on this one again, because I love dimension, I actually used the foam squares, not adhesive, which doesn't really matter. Just add some foam squares to it. Again, my little trick of using your fingernail to get the backs off of these. placed on the card here. And then we're going to put together a little flower. And you're going to adhere these two pieces together. And then all I did was put a little bit of adhesive along this. You stick the little center of the, I think they're called one-eyed Susans or daisies or something like that. And because I like dimension again, I just added some of the pop dots. And pop dot on the back, and I popped that up. And then I also added some of the foam dots to the back of this. And this just gets added to your card. And there you go, another card, just because I like you. Okay, this is going to be card number 7, another birthday card. And for this card, what you're going to get is your card back, some flower die cuts, a pre-stamped sentiment, and your base. Also, you're going to use the number 7 piece that you cut out of your, sorry, I can't talk, but out of your designer paper. Sorry, folks. It's been a very long day. So first you're going to put your pattern paper on its background. And also at the same time, I'm just going to throw my sentiment on its background. And then what I'm going to do with these little flowered die cuts is you'll see that the yellow fits right on top of the green, so that you actually have a yellow flower versus the green. Now, if you notice, I'm only putting the adhesive or glue around the outside, and you'll see why in a second. So you will attach it, lining it up so that the yellow flower just completely covers over the green flower. And then you'll see that it's die cut so that you can actually add a little bit more dimension by separating it and pulling out the leaves. Just some more cute little dimension. And you do the same thing in the second flower. Again, just adding a little bit of dimension to it, but putting the glue just along the outside. And you really don't need to bathe it in glue. It tends to work fairly well. Line that up. And again. And now, that's set. You're going to take, add some adhesive to this, attach this to the left side of your card, but not all the way. Left side. Take your sentiment and attach your sentiment to the card. And again, this is where I like to use my little favorite glue pen again, just to add some glue to these narrow, thin stems. And then, again, just around the edges of the flower, so this part will be attached to the card, and you can still pull out. I'll add a little bit around the bottom so that you can still pull out the little leaves and parts of the flower to give it some more dimension. And then I just kind of have the flower coming out of the bottom of your patterned paper. And again, you can see a little bit of glue, but it will dry clear. And here you go. Covers up this part a little bit. You have to just adjust it yourself. You can pull it out. If you want, move things around and glue it so that you can see your sentiment. This is card number 8. It's just a little hello if you're wanting to send something to your friends just to let them know you're still around. With this card, you're going to get your base card that's Oh Hello Friend, and you're going to use your pattern paper that's marked number 8, and you're going to get some ribbon, and you're also going to get some ribbon. So to start with, once again, I'm going to attach my pattern paper to the matting. So right in the center. Then I'm going to take my ribbon that I have, and what I'm going to do is just put it on the card like that, turn it over, and then I'm just going to use my adhesive to attach the ribbon to the back of this strip. So it will be nice and tight, but at the same time not hugely attached to the front, and you'll see why in a second. Now I can just attach this to my card base. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive going over the ribbon, just to make sure it's attached really nice. And then I'm just going to attach this along the left side of my card. And then if I have this little piece where I'm just going to tie it around this one strip of ribbon. To make kind of like a little bit of a full bow. And there you go. Just a very simple hello. I see I pulled off a little bit of the end of the ribbon. You can just trim that off. And there you go. This is card number 8. Just a hello. Now this is going to be card number 9, and what you're going to get with card number 9 is your card base with a pre-stamped sentiment on it, and you're going to use your pattern paper that you marked as number 9 and your matting, and also this cute little flower corner. And what I did was I have another of the peon paper that coordinates with the pattern paper that I used, and what I did was just cut out the corner flower to use on the card. Now, to start off with, you're just going to once again adhere your pattern paper to its mat. And it should fit just in the center, like that. And then you're going to adhere this to the bottom left of your card base, right underneath the pre-stamped sentiment. Like I said, bottom left, right under your pre-stamped sentiment. Now again, because I like dimension, I took my little foam squares and put them on the back of my little bouquet of flowers. So that it would just give a little bit of dimension to my card. This is not something you have to really do. I just like the dimension. I think it would look just as fine put directly onto your card base. And a card just to let somebody know they mean the world to you. This is going to be card number 10. And what you get with card number 10, again, is your card back. You're going to use your pattern paper that is labeled card number 10, and another one of those die cut flowers that I took off of another paper from Peon Design, and a pre-stamped sentiment. To start with, what you're going to do is once again adhere your pattern paper to its mat. And it should fit right in the center again. And that's why you took such care with your cutting guide to make sure that these were cut in the right direction. And then you're going to add this to the top right part of your card base, like this. Oops. Well, in actuality, it's supposed to go on the top right, but the way I stamped it, it seems like it's actually going to fit on the bottom left, which is fine. Depending on which kit you get, you're going to put it on the top right or the bottom left. And now you're going to add your sentiment onto its base. And it pretty much works in the same manner as if it was in the other direction. I am liking the dimensions again, so I will add some of the foam squares into the little group of flowers. Instead of the bottom left, I'm going to stick it to the top right. And then again, adding my foam squares to the back of the sentiment. That's just going to get stuck right there. And you have the same card, just in the opposite direction of the original card. And this is going to be card number 11, a thinking card, a thinking of you card. And what you're going to get with this is your pre-stamped base card base. You're going to get 3 black-eyed Susans, and you're going to use your pattern paper that you cut in label number 11 and your mat. So to start with, again, attach your pattern paper to its mat. And then this is going to get attached to the card. And then, again, like we did with the other card, I'm just adding a little bit of adhesive to each of these. Make sure you're using the right top for each of the flowers. And then we got a medium one. And a smaller one. Now, I wanted dimension, so I did pop up 2 of the flowers, but my largest one I just kind of glue it on and pop the other ones on top of that one. So grab one of my little foam squares on the back of these. Stick them on. You can pretty much stick them anywhere. You don't have to stick with what I did, but, and now you have a thinking of you card. This is card number 12, a sympathy card, which everybody needs at some point, unfortunately. With this, you're going to get your card base. You're also going to get a little tiny piece of bling that I used for the bird's eye. So when you're opening this kit, please be careful that you don't lose that little teeny piece of bling. You're going to have a pre-stamped sentiment, a bird die cut. You're going to use your number 12 pattern paper and the mats that go with it. So to start off, you're going to once again attach your pattern paper to the mats. And they should just fit right there along the center. And then you can attach your sentiment. And then making sure I don't lose my little bird eye. I can probably add that onto my bird right now so that I don't lose it. Start adding these to my card base. Starting at the bottom and working my way up. Leaving a little bit of space in between each of them. And my with sympathy, again, I'm adding dimension, so I used my little foam squares. And once again, you don't have to add dimension, I just like it. I think it would look just fine. If you are not one that likes to have things popped out on your cards, it would look just fine attaching it directly to the card base. I like dimension. And my little bird. I'm just using again the quick dry tacky glue. Again, trying not to particularly bathe the die cut. And glue. You don't necessarily have to, but again, if you get too much, it does dry clear. And this one, I kind of had the branches coming out of the center strip. Glue it on. And there you go. A sympathy card ready to use if needed. Okay, this is going to be card number 13. Can you believe it? We're all ready to card number 13. It's going to be a happy birthday card, and with this you're going to get some of the little wooden embellishments, a pre-stamped sentiment, and you're going to use your 3 little squares that you labeled card for 13 out of your, again, I can't, out of my pattern paper. So to start with, again, we're going to add or stick together our sentiment onto its background. And this is where it gets a little tricky, but not so much tricky, is you're going to attach your pattern paper to its background. Now what I've done is I've started on each corner, which helps me to kind of keep it pretty much even. If that doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. Again, it's a handmade card. Sometimes the imperfections are what really makes it special. And the third one, you just add it right into the middle. Then, now we're going to start adhering this to your card base, right along the bottom. You don't have to go all the way down to the bottom. You can leave a little bit of space there. And again, I like my dimensionals, but you don't have to. But I did pop up the happy birthday to you. Again, just to give the card a little bit of dimension. I think it tends to add a little bit of interest in. I have my little producer here taking care of me by moving my adhesive out of the way so that you can see what I'm doing. Thank you, Ellie. And this gets stuck right there in the middle of my card base. And then I'm going to add my little cupcakes. I just use, again, my quick dry tacky glue. It dries clear, so I'm not so worried about being able to see it through all the little slots and things. It will dry clear. And just that quick, we have card number 13, happy birthday to you. And last but not least, we have finally made it to card number 14. And this is just another hello if you want to brighten somebody's day. What you're going to get with this is a pre-stamped sentiment and your swirly die cut. You're going to use your pattern paper, number 14. Hopefully that's all you have left. And you're gonna have your background. So you're gonna start again with adding your pattern paper to its mat. Number 2. Oh, not quite straight, but oh well. And these are going to get attached to your card base. One on the left of your card and one's going to go on the right of your card base. Then you're going to take your sentiment and stick it to its embellished background. It's really good adhesive. stick it right into the center there. And again, I used some foam squares. Again, to give it dimension, not something you need to do. And you stick that right in the center of your card, and there you go. Card number 14. And the hardest part, I believe, is to actually follow your cutting guide, go slow, maybe practice on a piece of scrap 12 by 12 paper, and in the end, for 14 cards, it works out to be a little less than $2.25 per card. And thank you very much. Bye.